Right away. All right, we are live. Let's go. Friday,
Yeah.
7 p.m., October 23rd, in our beautiful homes or wherever we're staying and wherever you're staying. I am Jay-Cee Brass with my awesome partner,
John MacArthur.
John MacArthur, and we are here live on the show. We have some awesome speakers today, awesome guest speakers today. Some great friends of ours. They're still getting ready, and a few things we have going on in our lives. I recently had got a position confirmed yesterday that I will be the South basketball coordinator for the South of Saskatchewan, working with First Nations youth and whatnot, and planning and organizing all that stuff. I love that stuff. I love basketball, and I love mentoring youth in any way I can. So that's some great news I just got recently. I'd gotten the other day. It's been a long time waiting, about a full month. It was like a 2-month process from the application, interview, and then to the phone call. So it was like a 2-month process, and finally found out. So
Congratulations to you, Jay-Cee.
Thank you.
That is well deserved, man.
Yes, sir.
Well deserved.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good. So you get to coordinate, organize basketball for the youth, and make sure they get involved, make sure they get active, and have a good time, right?
Yes, sir.
Cool.
Just incorporate a lot of things. We can even incorporate like cultural teachings if we need. We definitely want to be open-minded to all the ideas brought forward, and we want to. I'm just excited to see who I'm working with, to meet everybody, really sit down and just plan that. Like we're creating a league for the youth. You know what I'm saying? Like, how cool is that? Like, my mind's just like. When they told me that, I was like, man, I wanted to create a league like 2 years ago, and I was fortunate enough for all this to happen, and this group to be hosting it, and it's an honor to be selected with one of the other two. So there's a Central and a North, so definitely excited for that.
Well, that's great news, and obviously this is just the beginning, right? So obviously you had this great idea, but this other thing happened. So you're on the right path of going towards what you want to go to, and obviously helping the youth get into sport, especially basketball. That's on you, man. That's your strong suit.
Buckets.
Yeah. You'll be training our next 3-on-3 champions.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, John, what about you? What do you got going on Pheasant Run?
Well, lots going on here, and the new snow on the ground is making things challenging, but it's not holding us down. We are preparing ourselves in many regards at Pheasant Run. We're making sure our elders are doing good, making sure the school's doing good, making sure the students are getting school or having the resources they need if they're doing that home learning instead. And of course, everybody is thinking about COVID-19 and what's happening out there in the world. And of course, we always want to be careful, especially when we come back home to our families and our elders. So, we're making a big effort to prepare ourselves for the next 5 to 6 months of dealing with COVID-19 and how to keep our people safe, how to keep our environment cleaner, how to make sure we're healthy enough that we can fight on to live another day. And it's really important to know that it's not only ourselves in this fight against COVID-19. It's all over the place. It's everywhere. So we really want to be responsible. We really want to be cautious and safe. So here at Pheasant, we're really taking big efforts to keep everybody safe and keep everybody healthy. And then to provide that support, to provide that nourishment if they're short on groceries, we help them out. If they need sanitizer or household cleaners, we help them out. And obviously we want to make sure we encourage and support so that we help others help themselves to get to a healthy, clean environment. And of course, we're not perfect, right? So we gotta give ourselves credit, and we gotta keep trying to work at it and do a better job. So me myself, I think about my children, and I think about my grandchildren, and I think about my father, who is 86 years old now, and I say, hey, what can I do to be safer, to be healthier? And those are the steps I'm really taking right now. Obviously, I'm looking forward to learning more and sharing that with others. So I definitely want to encourage conversation about this. You know, how are we staying safe but staying happy, staying engaged with family and friends? What are we doing to try to maintain a life in this really, really difficult, challenging year? And it's not over yet, people. So you know, we're not out of the woods, so let's keep it going. Like, how do we support each other? How do we cheer each other up? And obviously, with your new position, Jay-Cee, of basketball games, we want the youth to stay active. How do we keep them active? How do we keep them in the game, but we keep them safe? We make sure we encourage a healthy lifestyle, that they respect themselves and they respect their others around them. So, you know, there's a lot of the stocking up the supplies, but we're doing a lot of the education and awareness pieces as well, because obviously we don't have all the answers yet, but as the new answers come out, we want to share that widely and freely so that all our people get the information they need right away to keep themselves safe and happy. So aside from that, you know, Barkley, my dog, is doing wonderful, loving the snow. And I'm loving the snow. I hate the ice, but I'll make it through.
Well, speaking of snow and ice, well, our guest speakers here definitely are familiar with some snow and ice. And speaking on COVID issues and how it is and down here in Saskatchewan, in the southeast part for us and south for John, maybe we can get their insight on what it's like where they're from in Iqaluit, Nunavut. So let me introduce our guest speakers real quick. We got our guest speakers, Devin and Olivia, and I'm not sure how to pronounce your last name, but let me give you your drum roll real quick. I don't know if you can hear this. There we go. Welcome, welcome.
Welcome, Devin, Olivia.
Thank you, John and Jay-Cee, for welcoming us on the show.
Yes, welcome. Welcome.
Okay.
Glad to have you guys. And go ahead, John. You can take it from here. I'm just going to grab.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. My first question here is, so this morning it was minus 16 at Pheasant Run. What was the temperature there in Iqaluit this morning?
So this morning when I woke up, I checked the temperature and it was -2 for the most of the morning. And it started snowing mid-afternoon for a bit, you know, nothing bad. And it's been a steady -2 to -4 the whole day. So it's been a pretty mild fall so far.
Lucky.
You're lucky. Yeah, absolutely. So Devin, Olivia, thank you for joining us. You're in Iqaluit. Tell us a little bit about yourselves.
So I grew up in Nauyat, Nunavut, formerly known as Repulse Bay, Nunavut. And the community is split in half by the Arctic Circle. And when you get off the airplane out of the airport, there's an Inukshuk, which is a structure made out of rock. And that symbolizes where the line crosses through for the north side and the south side, which you're inside the North Pole or you're outside the North Pole. And I've grown up there till 2009, August, and I moved here to Iqaluit.
As for As for myself, I grew up in a little town called Coral Harbor. If you search it up on Google, it's Southampton Island. And I grew up in Coral for until I was in grade 10 and been living here in Iqaluit since August 2007. And we have two beautiful boys.
Yeah.
Ages are 8, and the younger one will turn 4 next month.
Wow, and your boys are quite amazing. I seen a photo of your oldest boy recently, and he took down his first hunt, right?
Yeah. So if you, yeah, my our oldest, he got his first seal, and it was a fun trip. We were thankful and lucky that Olivia's brother, Mike, had allowed us to use his little 18-foot silver dolphin aluminum boat. So we went quite far down the bay.
It was a beautiful day.
Yeah, it was beautiful, calm. We seen plenty of seal and different animals like harp seal, bearded seal, and it was just nice down there. And we had already caught 2 seals, and then my wife started hunting, and she caught her first seal.
Yay!
And then, and shortly after that, we went a little further, and we met up with her. My brother-in-law, her brothers, were both down there, and so we met up with them when we were down there, and they were going after a seal, and they said, we saw a seal over in that direction. So we said, okay, we'll go check it out. Sure enough, we see the seal, and we lost it, but we found another one, luckily. And since I already had caught 2, my wife caught. I said to my wife, I already caught 2. You can be at the front with my son and help him and shoot as well with him. So my wife went to the front of the boat with my son, and they started shooting. The seal popped up. The first shots between both were missed. Shot a little high, the other one shot a little low. And then the second time the seal showed up, we were a little bit closer, and my wife was aiming down the sights, getting ready to shoot, and my son did a quick shot. Actually, he was pretty fast at pulling the trigger and aiming down the scope, and I yelled, "He shot it! He shot it!" Because my wife was aiming, getting ready to shoot, and I said, "He shot it!" And my wife's like, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah, he shot it." My son just yelled in joy, just screaming, like he was just so excited that he caught his first seal with his little rascal gun, which is like a chipmunk, and without someone else aiming in the scope for him and him pulling the trigger, he did it all on his own, holding the gun, reloading the gun, aiming the gun. It was a proud day.
Yeah.
Absolutely, that is amazing for an 8-year-old. That to me, that speaks to you as being his teachers.
Yeah. That day we took home 4 seals.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. And of course, on Jay-Cee and I visited Iqaluit earlier in 2020, and we had quite a spread of food, country food, at your house, and we did eat some seal, and it was wonderful. Yes. So when a young hunter gets his first seal, is there a tradition of what the young hunter must do? Like, does he eat the heart? Does he eat, is there any tradition behind that?
So, and because there's different cultural practices between communities, it varies in each. And, I'll give an example. In one community, you do games and you feast on the catch with family and friends. Another community, depending on what you catch, you give your whole catch, your first one, to a very close relative, whether it's an aunt, an uncle, or another hunter, a person who taught him how to hunt, or her how to hunt. So it all depends on which cultural practices you had grown up in. And what we decided to do is we decided to do a little. My wife organized
Because I was so proud of my oldest son catching his first seal. What I did was to respect, COVID guidelines to not gather at the time and also to stay home was what I did. I went on social media to celebrate his catch and just got people to, I guess 5 questions about my son, and they could try and win $100. And I was kind of aiming for people that might want some gas money for their hunting trip.
yeah.
Well, that's a wonderful way to blend old ways with new ways and try to have fun with it, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's great. That's a great hunting story. But I know you guys have more hunting stories. I heard a couple that are just my favorite. I can't believe them. But I want to keep the focus on the teamwork between Olivia, yourself, and Devin. This next hunting story I'd like you to share is when you went out as a family with a very small boat, and you brought back a lot more than you thought you were going to bring back.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love that story. So please share.
So this was a few years ago, not too long ago, and it was beautiful summer day, and we had at the time we had a canoe, and it was just a 22-foot canoe, and they're not very wide. You can have maybe 2-3 small people sit in one seating, right? Compared to these bigger boats where they're 8 feet wide. These ones are more so 4.5, 5 feet wide or so. And so we decided, okay, we should do a camping trip, a family camping trip, and we can have a friend with us to help us. And we said, yeah. So we chose a spot which was just across the bay, not too far, and we said, yeah, we can set nets and catch fish and do some fishing rod and whatnot. So we agreed. We had a plan. So we got our gas, we got our food, we got our fuel, and the stove and everything, our tent, and we started loading up the canoe, and we made our way. Once we got there, tide was too low yet to get into the Bay of Two Rivers, which is also known as Nunavut in Inuktitut. And so we get there, but the tide is too low, so we can't creep up the river yet. So we're just, anchored away. We're just fishing, waiting, and it was raining a bit. And we had all these camping equipment, all the gas, the oil, and the stove, all with us. And so the boat was already, fairly heavy, including my son, our friend, and we were it was not a light boat at that time, and we could hear on the CB, there's whales, and I kept looking at my wife like, I'm eager, I want to go catch, but the amount of time it would take us to get around the island to go join the hunting and try and make it back to our camping spot was just not
Not gonna happen.
Yeah, it just wasn't gonna work out. So I said, maybe we'll see them tomorrow. We'll head out and we'll go look for the whales, and we'll have some luck. So we got in, we managed to set up the camp, and one error I did on my part is I didn't accommodate the tides that, in the evening, the tides are higher than in the morning. And so I didn't accommodate for that. And, I beached the canoe as high as possible, trying to, think, okay, this is where the shore will be. Once the tide's high enough, can easily push it into the water, not too much. So the next day comes around, and we wake up early morning, and we're like, okay, tide's coming up, let's be ready. And, we had our friend with us at the time, and he said, I don't think the tide's going to make it to the canoe. I said, yes, it will. Yes, it will. I believe it will. He's like, I really don't think the canoe will make it to the boat. So we started calculating. I was looking at the time, and I'm like, we got another 15 minutes till the tide reaches its peak, and it's only only a quarter way at the back of the canoe, and it still has, it only went up 2 feet of the canoe. It still got another 20 feet to go till the canoe lifts. So we started rushing, trying to get the front to hit the water and trying to take off the motor to make it lighter to push into the water at least, and then mount the motor on after. But after all that, we couldn't do it. We only made we only moved the back from facing the tent, and we had it face the opposite direction, and that's as far as we got it because it's reinforced with fiberglass. So I said, okay, we're stuck here for the day. We can't go. At least we saved gas. So I said, I'm gonna take a hike. Caribou season was open. The tag, we're allotted tags here in the Baffin Island, and so I said, I'm gonna go take a hike, and I'm gonna try look for caribou. There was a few spotted in this area during the winter months, and so I'm gonna take a look. My wife said, okay. And so on my way out, going for the hike, it was a pretty long hike, and trying to cross that river at the lowest tide and trying to make it back before the tide goes back up as well was the challenge as well, just so that I'm not stuck on the other side of the river. And there's two rivers there, so I didn't want to be stuck in between the two. Seen a caribou, tried to take a shot, but the distance was a bit too far. And not only that, I didn't reload the clip prior to reaching to that area. So when I put the clip in without thought, I didn't have bullets in it. And I'm there trying to, load the gun, trying to shoot, load the gun, and it's click, click, click. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I finally take a look, and I realized no bullets. So I had to quickly try. By the time I took out my bullets, caribou are gone. And I said, okay. I was a little disappointed, frustrated. I wasn't prepared for that. And so I decided, okay, make my way back to the camp. So went back to the camp, and my wife was cooking a meal. So I got back, was able to just, relax and eat a meal and not be hungry. And so we waited out a couple more hours. It takes about 6 hours for tide changes here. And when the tide finally came up, we put the boat in the water. We went to go check our nets. We got our fish. And then we went back to land. And I said, okay, I'm not going to park it as high this time, so we can leave tomorrow morning. So we got ready. We went to sleep, and then we woke up earlier before the tide was coming up, so that way we can eat breakfast, make hot water for our coffee, tea. And so we did that, put down the tent, cleaned up our area, and then we put everything inside the canoe.
I think all of us were really ready to go.
Yeah, because we were on land all day, not doing much the next day, right? So on that morning, we went to go pull out our fish nets, and while we were pulling it out, we were counting how many we caught, and we caught about 35 or so fish from the net. We get out of the short window to get out of the river so that we can be more in the open bay, and then we anchor and we eat properly again. And it was foggy, and so we tried to wait out a bit for the fog to go away. And I said, well, I got a GPS. The battery is still pretty good on it. I got spare batteries in the grub box. Then we got a whole lot of gas because we didn't go nowhere yesterday. I said, we can go hunting. And so we were like, okay. So before going out, my wife bought me this gadget called an InReach. And because I didn't really check the forecast for that day, I decided to use that InReach to check the forecast. And, it was showing beautiful weather. So I said, okay, we can go try harvest something, seal, anything. Even just to be out to try be down the bay, it would be nice. So we made our way down the bay, and we've seen a seal here, a seal there, but no luck in catching them. They would just disappear in the seaweed or in the shallow area. So
Yeah, I'd like to make a note, sorry,
yeah,
that oftentimes seals could be very smart. Oftentimes they don't show their head, and they only show little part of their nose, so that could make it hard to find them.
Yeah. So we continued our hunt. And we started going down the bay, and we decided, okay, let's check around this island. This is a pretty abundant area for seals, and the area is ward, but we know it as Kaiolitu. And so we try go in there, and it's too choppy. There's too many ways further out in the open. And I said, no, we're gonna have to go back to Rabbit Point Rock and hunt in that area, which is Nunavut. And I said, we'll go check around there. We'll be around that area, and we might see some luck. We harvested a few seals there before, not as much, but we might have our luck. So there we are, right in the open, and this very shiny wave caught my eye, and I was like, that looks like the wave of a whale. So I was focusing on it, going towards it slowly, and when I saw that it was whales, I knew it wasn't like a humpback whale or killer whale. I like, just based on the color, the wave, the size, I was able to tell that's a beluga. So I went full throttle with the canoe, and I just let go of the steering wheel without a thought, and I said, someone take the wheel, because I had to get my harpoon ready, tied to a buoy and everything. So I started doing that. Just as I'm done tying, my wife pulls back on the throttle, and I almost fall over. And I said, why'd you slow down? I thought they were further away a little. And she said, they're right in front of us. I said, really? She said, yeah. So I went back in the driver's seat. I took my gun out. The biggest gun I had at the time was a .223, and so I had that out. And I told my wife, I need your help to keep an eye to see where it's going to pop up. We have to try follow it and see which one we're going to go after. So at the time, I only seen the white beluga showing up, but my wife and my friend, they kept seeing the gray beluga, which is a younger beluga and is much more delicious to catch, but I was not seeing it at all. So I just went ahead and took a shot at the whale that I see. And so I took a shot, and I got it near the back, wound it, try to slow it down a bit. And, it's not that easy trying to shoot them when you're turning side to side at the same time and having to have a harpoon ready on the side. So I missed 2 shots, and then I got it again, and I shot it right on the spine. So it sort of became paralyzed, wasn't diving anymore, wasn't swimming anymore. And I said, quick, give me the harpoon. We went right up beside it. I harpooned it, threw the buoy and the rope overboard, backed out, and waited for the head to show up a bit more. And I took, 2 more shots to the head just so that it's dead and no longer alive. Yeah. Once we confirmed it was dead, we got near it. I took a rope and I tied it in the front of the canoe. And while we were chasing the beluga, here's the funny part. While we were chasing the beluga, my wife spotted a seal and my friend spotted a seal. And they said, oh, look, a seal. And I said, I don't care about the seal. I want the whale. Yeah. So, and so since we had to see the whale already tied onto the canoe, and we started dragging it, driving slowly to get to shore so that we can put it on land and start butchering it up. While we were doing that, I see the very same seal that my wife and my friend saw while we were going after the whale. I said, I'm going to slow down and I'm going to try to take a shot. My wife said, that's way too far of a shot. I said, well, I'm just going to try. If I get it, I get it. If I don't, after we're done cutting up, maybe we'll see one.
Mhm.
So I take my time, I take a shot, and sure enough, I get the seal. And my wife's like, you shot it? I said, yeah. She's like, are you sure? I said, yeah. And my friend's like, I don't think you shot it. And, we're starting to get closer, and the seal's not moving anymore. It's not diving. It's just there floating.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, yeah, you shot it. I said, I know I shot it. I heard the thud. When you take a shot, you can hear when you hit it.
Mhm.
And I said, I heard the, you
Yeah.
can hear it clearly. So we're driving over to it while dragging a whale. And then I said, we're going to need room for the whale. We're going to need room for the seal. And so my wife took the fish out of the tub that we're using as a fish tub, and she put them in a bigger bag, and we ended up using 2 big bags for the fish. And so we can have 2 tubs for the whale, for the meat, the blubber, and everything. And so we get the seal, we put it on the back of the boat, and then we continue making our way to land. And this is where it gets amusing for us, because once we got near land, my wife was helping me pull the whale up, but they're big animals. They're not that light. So it was hard, very, very hard, just the 2 of us. To try pull it up. And my friend did offer to try help, but his dilemma of the issue he was having was there was some swells coming, and so that the boat doesn't hit it a lot, or either doesn't go overboard or flip, he ended up having to hold the boat on one side of the point while holding the whale in a rope with the other hand. So he was there fighting back and forth, with the boat pulling him one way and then the whale pulling him in another way because of the swells. And I got about halfway up the body, cutting it up, taking off all the the blubber and whatnot. And I said, we need to move. We need to move to a calm spot. And my friend immediately agreed. He said, "Yep, I agree." So we got on the boat, tied up the whale again. We started driving slowly. And I was like, "Okay, this spot looks good." So we chose that, a specific spot, and sure enough, we were able to let go of the boat and have an anchor on land, push the boat out. Don't need to worry about it too much, and just 3 people pulling up the whale, which my wife was helping me a lot with. And my friend helped out as well at that point to help pull up. And these whales, they're very heavy, and there's a lot of meat we can get off of it, and a lot of mutta, we call it, which is the fat in the skin. And so there I am butchering up, because we only had one knife on hand for this type of butchering. And so my wife was helping by putting it in the bin, and then my friend helping once the bin was a certain height, of the meat. He ended up putting it inside the boat, both bins, and then we would basically pass along. I'd cut off, pass it to my wife. My wife would take it, give it over to him. And usually we have other boaters helping out with this, so then we can distribute the meat, the food. But our CB, our CB was not working. It got wet, it got damaged, and so we weren't able to communicate with anyone. But we could hear them, but they weren't able to hear us.
Oh.
And so we were there, like, doing 3-round shots with the gun, and waving with a paddle and an orange hat on top of it, trying to get people's attention to help us. Like, we got a whale, and like we're just seeing boats pass by. And I said, if this was an emergency situation, this is not good. So I said, I'm grateful we have our inReach, but if we needed the help right now, just seeing all these boats just pass by and not give a hoot into what's going on, it's not good. But so we continue butchering. And so we filled up the tub, and we had to distribute the weight carefully, because it's a small canoe, 22-foot canoe. It's not that high in water, and if we get 2 feet of waves, we're done. So I had to flat it out with my wife to try place
Balance
them.
it out.
Yeah, so I said, okay, this goes here, and she's like, okay, I'm gonna move this here, and so we're working together. She's organizing the back of the boat. I'm organizing the front of the boat, and she's organizing the cabin, and so on and so forth. And so we're doing that. We balance it out nicely, and so we have whale in the front of the boat, and it's hard for me to drive because with all that country food, we have to have it in the front so the back is not too doesn't go too deep in the water and the front too high. So I have this big bin in front of me, and and then we have the bin in the middle of us with the fish in the middle as well, and then a seal at the way back of the boat. So we only plan to harvest maybe a seal and some fish, or but we ended up coming back with all three resources that we like to eat. And
Let's
and
go.
it was funny because it was pretty funny too, because most times you'd be lucky catching two different types of animals, whether it's a bearded seal, a whale, seal, fish, seal, the common stuff. But we came back with seal, we came back with whale, we like a whole whale in one boat.
Yeah.
And on top of that, with fish. And not only that, we had our gear too, like our fuel, our oil, our stove, and all that, and sleeping bag. So it was a pretty full boat, and we started to make our way back home. And I was like, okay, let's see how fast this puppy goes. Canoes, they don't go very fast already. We're already topping out 30 kilometers at most with the canoe. So I go full throttle. I said, let's go home. It's going to get dark by the time we get home, and we're going full throttle. Our top speed is 15 kilometers. And so we're just chugging along, and I was like, oh my gosh, we're not that far from town. And I didn't bring enough oil. I thought I had brought 2 jugs. Turns out the other jug was empty. And so we ran out of oil not too far from town, and our our CB was damaged, and we're there trying to message family with the inReach. We need help. We're out of oil. We're stuck in this area, and no one's able to hear us. No one's stopping for us. We're waving paddle, shooting guns, and no one's stopping to help us. So can one of you guys pick up? So one of them messaged us, and they said, yeah, we'll be there in half an hour. I said, perfect. And just with 2 paddles, we're using the paddles just to try keep the boat in line, and try, whenever boats are passing by, we're trying to get their attention at the same time, but we also need to face the canoe at them so that the waves don't come at us sideways with all this weight. And we got lucky with one of our friends. He ended up pulling us back to town.
Yeah.
And so we were successful, and in return we gave them a piece of meat, whatever they wanted.
Whale arm.
Yeah,
those are one of the yummiest part.
Yeah, the whale flipper.
Yeah.
And so we gave one of those, and we gave part of the tail and part of the just the regular mutta. So we gave quite a bit, because we're thankful that they're helping us. They're and they're using their gas to pull us back, and we're a heavy boat already as it is, and then on top of that, all this country food. So it was a pretty fun time coming back, and we tried to distribute as much as we can when we got back to town, but it turned out that the whale that we had caught was not in the best of condition. There was some infections on the skin, and so some of the meat, so some of the skin that we gave out that we like to eat, the mutta part, a lot of that was no good, but there was some parts of it that were still good. So that was the downside, but we were happy. We got a lot of fish and seal. So.
Yeah, and I guess I could elaborate a little bit more as to how I guess help out when we're preparing to go camping and out camping. So what I usually do is I like to make bannock so that we could eat bannock when we're out there. So we need to make that before we go. And me and my husband here, we usually just communicate. It's very easy for us to communicate to get things prepared, like such as the tent, the stove that we will be using, and the food, and sleeping bag, all those resources that we need when we're camping. And I think it's a common thing when you're in a marriage, I guess, to help each other out. And oftentimes, we may have friends and family that could help us, but like it's kind of like, I guess, regular to help each other out, because I mean, you're supposed to be a teamwork.
Yeah.
And so we get the belongings ready, and once we go, I usually ensure, I guess, the kids are dressed warm, that they're fed, and that we have something in our bellies to keep us warm and energetic.
Yeah.
And also, what else?
Well, see, like for example, when we're out camping, whether it's spring, summer, fall,
Yeah.
we always share different roles that play a big part. So, for example, like she'll do majority of the preparing of food, cooking. I'll worry about, for example, if it's a spring, I'll get the stove up and running.
Yeah.
And then she'll make sure that the kids' clothes are dry, and if they're not dry, she'll work on getting them dry. And so she does her part in watching over the kids more than I do, I'll say, to be honest. And like, especially during boating season, I'm watching for if animals pop up out of nowhere, because walrus can be aggressive, killer whales are very aggressive, narwhals can be dangerous too if you're in their line of sight for their tusk coming at you. So she makes sure we're all fed on the boat. She makes sure we're all hydrated on the boat. When someone gets cold, then she lets me know, so then I stop what I'm doing and I prepare the stove and make a spot inside the boat to have the stove running. And so my main duties is watching out where the wildlife are, where the shallow spots are, and ensuring the weather doesn't change on us drastically in the short time. So
Yeah. I'd also like to touch base, I guess, when we bring back country food, like that time we brought back 4 seals, because that's a lot of meat for a family of 4. And so we like to share our catch, and we usually would butcher it, I guess, in our kitchen. Or let's say if it was hot in the summer and we catch it pretty early out in our hunt, sometimes, I guess, to save some cleaning, we like to also cut it up on land before we get back home. So if we do cut it up at home, we tell family, come get some seal meat. We caught 4, and people are often, they go for the smaller seals because they're tasty, and I guess people prefer those ones. And we had 3 small ones, so that was very special. And so family came and they took what they wanted, and then after family took some, we shared with our close friends that like to eat seal.
Yeah.
And once they get their part, or they say they're good, then we extend it out to our community members. We just usually post that on social media. Seal meat free for pickup at this house number. Anyone's welcome. And a few times, majority of the time, I should say, the meat, it goes gone. So we feel good to give back, and people are often thankful.
Yeah.
They also mail out. No, I'm playing. That's not.
Hey, I was gonna ask, where's my package? Send me some come through food.
Yeah.
We can. It all depends on what type of meat and where it's going, and we have to try time it into how it's going to be shipped there. So, for example, if it's going way out where you guys are, right, we'd have to prepare it on the weekend and send it out first thing in the morning. Have it priority express, whatever is the quickest way to get it out, and make sure it is well insulated. Having it not in just one cooler, but like in a double cooler where you have it with ice. Then you contain that in a styrofoam cooler, and then you put ice in that again, and then that in another cooler, just so that by the time it reaches you, it doesn't thaw out.
Okay, we're working on that. We'll have something in the mail. I still remember the wonderful meal you provided to Jay-Cee and I when we visited, and obviously Olivia, Devin, you both have your important tools in your lives, right? So Devin, you've got your rifles, your harpoon. So you made your own harpoon this year, didn't you?
Yes, yeah. I did. When we got approved for our new boat, when we were getting it, we got news, okay, it's coming. I said, all right, I'm going to make a harpoon. I'm going to be prepared for when the boat comes in, so I don't need to try and look or buy tools. I'm going to make it myself, and this is going to be more meaningful for myself. So I said, sure. So it only took me a day and a half to make it. I don't know if I'll be able to show. So this is the back end, and then it starts to go, and then the rope goes through here so that I don't lose my harpoon. And then it continues on, and I have rope here so that it can secure down the harpoon head, and then up where here is where the harpoon head goes. And I'll show you up close of how it's set up after I show you what the harpoon head looks like. Yeah. So right here is a harpoon head.
Wow.
Oh.
And so that's what it's shaped like. And the reason why there's an angle like that is so that when it gets inside of the meat, when it goes through, and when the rope is pulling back in the buoy, it digs into the meat, so then it comes out sideways, and it gets locked in there. So then it's it doesn't come out anymore. So that it's stuck in there, and that acts as an anchor so that you can pull up your catch without worrying about losing it.
Yeah.
And so
that's very cool.
I'll show you.
So this in Inuktitut, it will be called sakpo.
Yeah. I don't know if I can. I don't know. I'll try.
So as an example, the harpoon head goes through one of this. It's secured on one end, right? So then it goes, and then I just go ahead and put the harpoon head at the end in there, and then over here, once it's secured on there like that, it's already going to has a nice snug, but a little loose, so it can come off and it doesn't stay stuck in the animal. I'll pull down tight on the rope, and I'll have it go in between these other ropes, so then it holds it nice and tightly so that there's some tension, and if I throw it, that the harpoon head doesn't come off prematurely before it hits the animal.
Yeah.
So once I hit it, I just give a little snug to the harpoon, so that when I give a little snug, this will come off, and then it'll dig in and anchor inside of the animal.
Let's go.
That is very cool. Thanks for sharing that, Devin. Olivia, you have an important tool that you couldn't live without.
Yeah.
So could you share that with us?
Sure. So I guess I'll share this first one. It's a smaller size, and that is called an ulu. And there's usually the handle, the stem, and the ulu. They have their own names, but I don't remember them off by heart. But this is an important tool that a lady would need to have. The smaller ones, they're often used for sewing because of their sharpness. There's a certain way to sharpen it for the ones that we use for sewing and cutting. And I'm going to show you the bigger size that we usually use for, I guess, portioning out our meat or even eating country food, cutting up vegetables. So this one here, it's a little bit more fancy. You could see that there's 3 holes. I guess you could say that this is more modern these days. My cousin actually makes a lot of these. He lives down south in Truro, Nova Scotia, and he sells a lot of those. So if I guess anybody would like to order their own ulu, I'm sure that he could send one to you, sell you one.
Yeah.
He makes a lot of those types of ulus where they're a little bit more fancy, I guess.
That sounds wonderful, Olivia, and obviously an important tool for a woman to take care of her family, right? Would it be okay to order one and put it on display at home instead of using it?
Yeah, people do that.
Okay, please, we'll share the details. We'll make sure that we post the contact information, because honestly, I think I would love to buy a ulu for myself.
Can I use mine as a pizza cutter or no?
Yeah.
Kid you not, we got one specifically just for pizza cutting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody can use a pizza cutter.
I'd also like to.
Oh, Jay-Cee got the polar bear claw still.
Yes, I do.
Yes.
A gift from Devin and Olivia while we were there. And I still got it. I still gotta do something with it though. You know, I gotta either put it on my necklace or something, or tell a story that how I caught it. I gotta make something up.
Now, there's one other thing that Jay-Cee got there. I'm sorry. There's one other thing that Jay-Cee got there while we were visiting, and can you share with us a little throat singing, Jay-Cee?
Oh, no, no, I can't do that. No,
maybe next time.
That was cool though. It was I didn't realize that's like what the females do to it's a game, right? It's a game that they play with the mother and the daughter or something like that. And they had me sitting around the table trying to throat sing and stuff, and I couldn't do it. It's cool. It's really cool. It's a really cool thing. So
yeah, absolutely. The food, everybody that we met in Iqaluit, they're just wonderful. It goes without saying that as soon as we can get back to visit, I know I'm signing up. I'm on the way as soon as we can. So as soon as we get all this COVID-19 stuff cleared up, I'm coming back. Jay-Cee, I know Jay-Cee is going to come with me, so I can't wait.
Oh, for sure.
We can't wait to host you guys again. You guys are a great host to have here.
So maybe Devin and Olivia, if you can say one last word about Iqaluit to let people know, it's what kind of place is it? What kind of people? And should when all this stuff clears up, should they come visit you, Iqaluit?
Sure, everyone's welcome. As Inuit, we're usually really welcoming, and anybody could come up, and we're friendly and welcoming.
Yeah, and what we like to say is tungasuk lusi, like meaning feel welcome, be welcome, and in case you're wondering, Iqaluit is declared as the capital city of Nunavut. Majority of you might think, oh, that's no city, that's a community, and it because the size is fairly small, you're not wrong. It is like a community, but compared to other communities here, it is like a city, I guess, in a way, in a sense. And so it's always, there's always something nice to do here. There's beautiful scenery and surprising tides that happen here, so it's always something wonderful to do.
And great people. Great
Yeah. Northern Lights, great people, great food. And the landscape is amazing.
Totally different. Coming from Saskatchewan, you think you live in Canada until you live in Nunavut, then you live in Canada. That's
Well, I'd like to say, unfortunately, we got to wrap it up here tonight. But it's been a pleasure visiting with you, Olivia and Devin, and I hope that we can do this again very soon. But I wanted to say, number one, congratulations on the boat. I know that's an important, huge step for the family. And Devin, congratulations on your polar bear this year. Way to go.
Thank you. Yeah. Fed many people. That's the claw from the first polar bear that Jay-Cee has there. I got many more from my second catch now.
Right on. Mm-hmm. And so I want to thank you guys. Wonderful role models, wonderful family that you have. Keep doing what you're doing and keep sharing it with others, because what you're doing is helping others.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Jay-Cee, any last words?
Yeah. Sure enough, we're probably the next episode when we do a Nunavut like another show with you guys, we might be up there, doing the show, what I'm saying, with you guys, like live, right? So that would be awesome to do a live show there, hopefully when everything clears up and everything. So definitely that's got to be on the agenda. So
yes, as soon as we can.
We look forward to that agenda.
Yeah.
Be safe and talk soon.
Yeah,
you guys too. Stay safe. We'll talk to you soon. All the best and take care.
All right.
Thank you.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, Jay-Cee. Wow.
It's good stuff, man. I mean, we got the whole story. I had an unexpected visitor, so I had to go attend to the door, unfortunately, for a few minutes. But I'm glad you guys were able to continue forward there and get it all done. And So.
Okay, well, absolutely exciting show and wonderful stories. And Devin and Olivia are wonderful friends who are really doing well with with the challenges ahead. So it's such a pleasure to be a friend with them. But just a couple last things to tidy up here today. So we are doing the draw for the Saskatchewan Rough Rider jersey. Be sure to like, comment, and share episode number 3 with Dr. Jolisa Sakamoose for the last chance to enter. The draw is going to happen. No more delay.
No more delay.
We are going to be possibly having a special Halloween episode next Friday, October 30th. We have some exciting news. We might do some on-location shots. So be sure to tune in next week. And I saw that we have a need to have a shout out for my buddy Sean. Hey, Sean. Thanks for tuning in.
Sure.
thanks everyone for joining us. I hope everybody enjoyed the show, and comment what you want to see us do next time, or in future episodes. And we're going to have some more fun next episode. So be sure to tune in for more opportunity to win a door prize. So look forward to new exciting details ahead. Jay-Cee?
Absolutely. And to close it off, like I said, next week we're trying to do a Halloween special. I'm telling you, it's gonna be special. Like whatever you can get, any better special than anything you can get at the Chinese restaurant, all right? Any best special combination. It's gonna be special. Okay.
Way better than the chef special.
Way better than any chef special you can order. It's gonna be good. Next week, Halloween special. And it's gonna be live, so it's gonna be an experiment.
Yes.
Other than that, I'm Jay-Cee Brass. This is
John MacArthur.
MacArthur. Thanks for watching our show. We got some branding that we're gonna share with you guys later on. But other than that, we'll see you guys next week. Adios, amigos.